You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever, the secret is whenever, the secret is together we are.
Hi, good morning. Centers for Spiritual Living in St. George, Utah. This is my last week coming from Kauai, and I send you blessings from the islands. Okay. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love using science of mind and spirit, principles, and practices. Centers for Spiritual Living St. George is a community-focused center actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may live their very best lives. Our mission, CSL St. George, is an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision through sacred wisdom celebrations, empowering transformative education, youth and young adult programs, dynamic music ministry, community inreach, and community outreach. Our service team today is Bill Smith, the tech in the back, and he's also going to be doing the reading today. I am Stephanie, your host, and our invocation will be given by Reverend Rachel Dilling, our music Alan Stanley, and of course our talk by our special Reverend Joe Kovach. Okay.
Ooh.
Take it away.
I will. Hello, Stephanie. Go be glad when you get back. So we're going to lay back a little bit, sing a little song by Daniel Nahmod, and then halfway through it, Rachel's going to come in and offer us a little prayer, and then we'll finish it up. We'll sing along, hum along. Don't worry, I can hear you all. My body, my soul is offered a perfect whole. My heart and my hand are serving a sacred plan. I know that is true when all that I am comes down to you. I know that it's true. I know that I can rely on you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you.
Good morning. So let's all take a deep breath together and release. Knowing that God is everywhere and everything, knowing it is the beginning and the end, it is the creation and the destruction, is the creator and the created. Knowing this is the truth, I know that I am of and from and in and as this universal energy that I call God. We can call it Buddha, we can call it the divine, we can call it spirit. Whatever we call it, it is still what it is. And so in this knowingness that I am of it, as is everyone that can hear my voice right here and right now, I declare that all is good, that this service is a wonderful service of reminders, of inspiration, of knowing the truth of who I am and where I come from.
and what the possibilities of my creation are. So being grateful for the technology that brings us together, the participation that creates this co-experience, being grateful for all that I am and all that I have. I release my word to the law, knowing it is done. And so it is. So it is. Thank you.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Rachel. My thoughts and my mind are belong to eternal time. My words and my song, you're writing them all along. I know that it's true when all that I am comes down to you. I know that it's true. I know that I can rely on you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you. All that I am, all that I am, all that I am, God, I give to you.
That was a good one, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Let me see if I can. It is actually more difficult than expected to both tech and do something else at the same time. So I'm going to muddle my way through this. But today's reading I selected from a book called The Art of Abundance that I've been enjoying lately. It's by Dennis Merritt Jones, who's been part of the Centers for Spiritual Living for 30 years. And he previously opened up a center in Simi Valley, California. This book is really about abundance and about prosperity. Since I knew Reverend Joe was going to be talking about being in the flow today, I thought that what might be appropriate, since Dennis has laid out 10 rules of abundance. And his fifth rule he calls be in the flow. So here we go. Now, one of the great paradoxes in life can be found at the center and circumference of the principle of abundance. The law of circulation affirms that the universe is energy in perpetual motion, dynamically exchanging one form of itself for another, and that in order for abundance, or in any form, to flow into our lives, we must also allow it to flow out of our lives. This dynamic exchange is a conundrum with which humankind has struggled for millennia because it seems so counterintuitive. In essence, the message is letting go of what we have is a prerequisite to receiving more of what we desire. Let's face it, irrespective of what form of good it may be, everyone loves receiving more, having more, and especially holding on to more. But when it comes to the letting go part of the equation, not so much. While this is a modern-day paradox with which most of us can identify, the need to make sense of and peace with the law of circulation is nothing new. Over the centuries, the mystics and masters who understood this quagmire have taught the same be in the flow principle to those who had ears to hear and the heart to follow their guidance. The teacher Jesus grasped this great paradox and summarized it and the law of circulation by clearly emphasizing the importance of being open to and in the flow, and the consequence of not being open to and in the flow. And his quote, goes, "By your standard of measure, it shall be measured to you, and more shall be given besides. For whoever has, to him shall more be given, and whoever does not have, even what he has, shall be taken away from him." And that's from Mark 24. If we were to translate this classic idiom into our modern day language and metaphor, we might say it this way: your standard of measure is the depth of your consciousness. It is done unto you exactly according to your deepest belief. Therefore, if you are aware of your oneness with the principle of abundance and believe that more than enough is available, you will be comfortably open to receiving more than enough with grace and ease. In addition, you'll be equally comfortable and open to letting the good you hold freely pass through your life because you trust and know that more will find its way to you. Again, Dennis Merritt Jones. And I just thought that his outlook on flow, I thought is pretty pivotal. Anyway, thank you for listening to that. And we'll bring Alan back up on here and sing a little bit more for us.
Yes, thank you. That was great, Joe. Great choice.
Bill, but yeah, thanks.
Well, we'll see what Bill has. Here's a song by Elaine Silver. Spirit divine, Spirit divine, Spirit divine. I'm trusting in Spirit to meet all my needs. When I trust in Spirit, I always succeed. Energy flowing, the light brightly shines. Spirit divine, Spirit divine. Sometimes I'm frightened and feeling confused. Then I remember that I'm being used and exalted by Spirit divine, Spirit divine, Spirit divine. I'm open and willing and I'm filling up. The blessings I feel overflow in my cup, with gratitude pointing me to the divine. Spirit divine, Spirit divine. I'm trusting in Spirit to meet all my needs. When I trust in Spirit, I always succeed. Energy flowing, the light brightly shines. Spirit divine. Sometimes I'm frightened and feeling confused. Then I remember that I'm being used and exalted by Spirit divine, Spirit divine, Spirit divine. I'm open and willing and I'm filling up. The blessings I feel overflow in my cup, with gratitude pointing me to the divine. Spirit divine, Spirit divine. With gratitude pointing me to the divine. Spirit divine, Spirit divine, Spirit divine.
Thank you, Alan. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Bill. That was a great reading. I love it that we're reading that book. Okay. Here we go. We're going to welcome Reverend Joe Kovach.
Or not.
There he is. In a blink of an eye. There you are.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm here, and I
Are you in
can't
the
wait.
flow?
I can't wait to get home and in the flow.
Yes.
And the flow is very strong.
Good. That's good. That means you're aware. That's exactly what we're going to talk
I'm
about
aware
today.
of it.
Well, thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Sounds like Bill got a promotion. Nickname Alan. Alan likes to promote people to higher levels, and that's what we're doing here, right? For ourselves, looking to up level. So good morning. Happy January 19th already. The new year is already 3 weeks old, so to speak, or let's call it new. Yeah, 3 weeks new. And how are you doing this New Year's so far? It's beautiful weather here in Vegas, and I know in St. George, and just thrilled. Been in a good place since this New Year's begun. I hope you are too. And honestly, the subject matter that we're talking about is just fun because it's the basics, and yet it's when we latch onto the basics, we grow. I mean, that's where it all is the fundamentals, the principles. And last week we talked about I kind of broke the last couple of weeks. I've broken down the idea of our teaching symbol and the simplicity of how we see God, again, in simple form. Obviously, it's an unknowable thing because it's forever changing. And as we basically try to embrace the science of mind, we talked about how the law operates, and that was last week. So quickly and simplistically, the law is the part of God that we look at, or spirit, as the movement part, that we put everything is thought, everything is consciousness. And when we release it, we say, you heard Reverend Rachel say, I release this into the law, meaning I now hand this off to the infinite mind that knows the best and the highest and the perfect way to accomplish me to have the experience that I'm seeking to have, right? So the part of this is where we tend to mess things up is we try to get involved and we don't trust due to a lack of faith. So let us just begin by recognizing our oneness with what we call God or spirit, or we could even call it the Force if you like, if you're a Star Wars fan. We're recognizing it's all one. Think of it as an ocean of consciousness. And we recognize the fact that it shows up in our lives. We recognize it through ourselves, through our own thoughts, in our experiences, in how it shows up. And by recognizing how this power moves from our inner thoughts to our outer experience, we basically get to test how it works and decide how or if we're having the impact that we want to in our lives for ourselves and, of course, for others. So this process of connecting our inner world to our outer world results is essential for us to understand so that we can deepen ourselves, deepen our life, grow, expand, feel that natural freedom that everyone seeks in expression uniquely as us. So Ernest Holmes says it simply as this. You belong to the universe. You are one with the creative genius back of this vast array of ceaseless motion, the original flow of life. So when we talk about the title, It Flows, we're talking about it as one of Ernest Holmes' names for this thing called life. It's not male, it's not female, it's yes and everything in between. And so we also don't believe that is anything outside of our understanding, our thought, and who we are. We are within it, and it is within us, and it is all in and forever flowing in and out of form, from thought to form. And so we can maybe describe flow as a process of thoughts, and then adding our energy to it, our thoughts to feelings. Feelings then become our choices. Choices then become our actions and behaviors. And that's what equals our experience. So thoughts, feelings, choices, actions, and behaviors equal our experience. Now, when we start this process with understanding that you, are a powerful being, born of this original flow, operating and living within it, and whose life, your life purpose, is to basically forever express this flow to your greatest potential through your unique way of being, your unique stream, so to speak. Stream of consciousness. That's another term that has been given this idea of spirit, in essence. So every one of us begins with magnificence. We are perfect, whole, and complete as we are in what we would call non-physical form. We are one with all that is, and we are consciousness, and then we choose to have this experience why? Because there's this part of us that needs to experience what we are saying or thinking, let me back that up, thinking about. Now, one of the things that came to my mind initially was, well, if we're all of one source, we're all starting with the same stuff, so to speak, why don't we end up creating an amazing life? Like, why don't we all create the same amazing life? Like, if we knew all this, why would we deviate? And that reason really is the same, is that we are all unique. I use the example, if we had a box of Legos, right? And every one of us said, we're told to build something, whatever you want to do. I guarantee you, assuming it was a big enough box, that no one would build the same thing. And that's what life is about. Not only for us to identify our way of wanting to experience life, but to celebrate somebody else's, because without the other, right, without the other expressions, we kind of get lost. We may not grow at all. We're like, well, this is it. This is what I built. I don't know anything else. But then I look over there at that stream and I'm going, oh, that stream's got rocks in it. That's interesting. Maybe I want some rocks in my stream. Maybe I don't. Oh, there's some certain plant life over there. Maybe I want to add some of that into my experience. And so that's the inspiring thing. We all literally get to do it as we want. I mean, there are video games that have been created where you get to create and kind of do what you want. And even that is limited. Like, literally, we have the power that creates universes at our access. And the simplicity of it is hold in mind an image of what you want to experience and express. Think about that. It almost sounds too good to be true. Yet we've put this into test, and we know for ourselves how it works. We call it the creative process, right? And we all have our own individualized wisdom that we use to co-create. And therefore, we each have an individualized purpose. And your purpose is different than my purpose. Even though, let's say we have two singers, they're not going to sing the same. They're not going to have the same passion. They're not going to, if they could create the same music. And that's perfect, right? So going back to this idea of law is like the delivery system of spirit, right? And it's tuned perfectly to our vibration. Now, did you hear that? I didn't say tuned to your thought, right? It's tuned to our vibration, not just our thought, because our vibration has to do with our total state of beingness, right? Ernest Holmes said in The Science of Mind, he said, it must pass through our consciousness to operate for us. Let me say that slower. It must pass through our consciousness to operate for us. So I may have a thought, right? But then I have these feelings and belief systems and so on that I can start, for example, with a thought of love, and then I add the feeling of jealousy. Now, that may not be what I want, but if I'm unaware, I'm unaware. I don't know, therefore, what I'm really creating. And then this shows up. Why do I always attract the wrong person? Why do I always attract people who leave me, and so on and so forth? And if we're living in a life unaware and having life happening to us, then we keep trying to change the outside. Ernest Holmes is reminding us it's an inside job. The stream of consciousness flows through us. So if we're going to alter our life experiences, we must take a look at what we're thinking and feeling, and what I say, thought, feelings, choices, actions, right? So there can be, of course, a disconnect, a kind of spiritual bypass where we say, or where we're acknowledging oneness, but then we kind of, the life that shows up doesn't equal it. And we go, well, okay, we'll just, it's all good, and I'm just going to keep creating. But again, if we keep creating and we have the same outcome, right, then are we stuck? And I say, yes, we are stuck. If the same outcome keeps happening, then we need to do some inner dialogue and see, maybe we got some a constriction of that flow happening through us, that we say, yes, God is one, God is love, God is joy. It's only love being expressed, but I'm not experiencing that in my life, in my direct experience. Okay. Then yes, we start at the beginning, thought. We call this co-creation, right? Because technically spirit, it's already here. Everything can and has been created in essence, and we are fine-tuning it to our vibration. So by reflecting on essence the effects of our lives, we gain insight into how we can engage with the flow or law. So co-creation is always in play. We are always creating, whether, as I say, and you've heard, by design, awareness, or by default, meaning habit. And usually that way, when we're saying by default, it's happening in a way that is not assisting life the way we want it to, right? So the question really is are you cooperating with the flow and creation or working against it? Right? Now, there's a third one in there, which means we may be aware, but we're simply misusing the creative process out of ignorance. In other words, we're still in the process of understanding it. And look, we all are, right? So, but some of us are more aware. And obviously, we talk a lot about what we call the master teachers, who were very aware and had basically no resistance to the flow of life. So let's just to simplify, let's talk about basically how we could be using the flow positively in cooperation with it. To support this, Ernest Holmes says, a steadfast determination to attain some purpose, the letting go of all that opposes it, a complete reliance upon the law of good, and an unqualified trust in spirit. This is real power. Now, this goes right in line with Bill's reading from Reverend Dennis Merritt Jones. While we talked about, and we can't just receive, we have to be willing to give. Think about the idea of, even if it's all good and it's flowing to us and we don't do anything except dam it up, we hold it up out of fear. That's the same thing we feel inside, right? Have you ever not told someone that that maybe, especially as children, we do something wrong, we broke the vase and we don't want to say anything, and we may even lie about it at first, and all that does is dam up the good flow within us, the truth within us, and we feel it, and then it feels heavy and it feels not good. And then if we choose to share the truth, we open it up, there's no more resistance, and we say, oh, we took a load off our chest, so to speak. And what we did is we allowed the blockage of energy within us to flow. It's the same way with any energy in our lives, right? So as we use the positively the flow of life, it feels like ease. It feels like grace. It feels like tranquility, peace. I said peace already. Nope. Or did I? I don't know. Peace is good. It feels like trusting, hopefulness. We recognize in our lives when we're in the flow that the right people and the right places, we end up, like, people show up, we end up in the right places at the right time, and we didn't have to do it. It just flows. So we call that, right, good vibes. We're feeling good vibrations. For me, I put myself in those places and that I used to play hockey a lot. And for me, playing hockey or playing drums, it puts me in the flow every time. I love doing it. Well, you know what? I won't say every time, because there's times when, I'm practicing and I try something new and I'm not where I want to be. And then I negatively self-judge myself. Then it doesn't become fun anymore. I do that to myself. It's fun. It's there. The drums are there. Hockey is there. It's how I choose to experience. So I had the right thought, and then I had the right feeling, but then my choices changed. I became hard. I became resistant. I thought it should be a different way than it was. Put up that resistance, put up the dam, and I stopped having fun. So we are consciously always in the flow. And if we're aware of it, then we're using it for increase in our lives, right? So increase, we have more peace, more ease, more grace, more excitement, more joy, more laughter. That's when we're in that flow positively. Right? Now, there is no negative use or not negativity of the flow. It's just our negative use or resistance or ignorance of it. Now, for this, Ernest Holmes says, spirit, which is the creative life principle, is forever flowing through us. Yes. But we have been given the power or right to impede or stop its progress in ourselves. We dam it up. He says we can tie a cord tightly around our arm so inhibit the circulation of blood that congestion, stagnation, and infection will follow. In like manner, through our thinking processes, our ideas, and our convictions, we use the tourniquets of negative thoughts and block the flow of creative life through us. So when we're in essence going against the flow, it doesn't feel like flow at all most of the time. It feels hard. We feel stuck. We feel alone, fearful, depressed. The resources seem to be in lack. It's never enough. Now, we may or may not be conscious, but the effects in our lives are not of increase, right? And so often we get confused because we say, I want this idea, and then we get afraid of it. And we say, then that must not be for us. Well, look, every idea that makes us initially feel good is most times a positive idea that if we held it in mind long enough for it to become more natural, more normative, then it would become positive. I mean, in other words, we're trying to get outside of our box. We're in our comfort box. We have to get outside that box. And initially, that's going to feel awkward, uncomfortable. And that's not bad. It's just our mind letting us know we're in something new. So let us be more aware of how we're feeling. And if it feels negative, to give it more of a second look and go deeper within. So one of the ways, if we're not sure how to move forward, is to look around at the successful people, the happy people, the people that are content in our lives, and take a look at their attitude. Maybe what are they doing? And then back it up to, if you have a chance to talk to them, what are they thinking? How are they in alignment with the flow, receiving what they want? Now we can also pause and recognize those that are in our lives that are struggling. They're often see the glass half empty, right? They're generally unhappy. If you say, hi, how are you doing? They're like, and they go right to a negative. And that was me for the longest time. And I didn't even realize it. Or I would simply say, I'm good, but, and then I always threw in a negative, the weather, the traffic, whatever. I don't feel good. I didn't sleep well. And then I caught wind of like, why do I do that? I didn't even know I was doing that, right? We're not aware of what we're not aware of until we make that step to pause and check the flow that we're in. Is this flow best for us? And the best thing about it, the flow equal to vibration is infinite. So we can always experience more increase in our flow. And this, as we learn and I'm going to say our individual use, right, of flow, then we gain this empowerment. we gain this experience that bolsters us to try more, to believe more, to grow more. The great author and teacher Eric Butterworth says, you and God are inextricably linked in a mission of co-creation. Even as a wave is the ocean expressing as a wave, so you are the allness of God expressing as you. Ooh, did you hear that? You are the allness of God, not the tiny part, not the insignificant part, not lackluster. You are the allness. Ernest Holmes says the same thing in different words, right? So we are always expressing in all ways as much as we can understand. And what we express is our unique understanding of spirit or unconditional love. Now, if the great part is what this says to me is I'm technically lacking nothing, right? If I am the allness of God expressing, and then I get to express more, then if it's not showing up as amazing, then there's just some tweaking that I need to do from within my own filters, my own mini dams, so to speak, that's blocking this flow, right? And this is not new. Even some people knew of this, how creative process that we may not even be aware of. So I'm going to read you, I'm going to put it on screen here. So the quote is, there are no accidents in my philosophy. Every effect must have its cause. The past is the cause of the present, and the present will be the cause of the future. All these are linked in an endless chain stretching from the finite to the infinite. And maybe from the infinite to the finite backwards, right? Now, who would you think said this? If you would say Ernest Holmes, it could be, but it's not. And maybe Eric Butterworth, but it's not. And Emerson's a great teacher that we use, but it's not him. It's not Troward. It's not Buddha. It's not Yeshua. How about Abraham Lincoln? He was aware of it too, which means our founding fathers, of course, knew of this. Amazing. And how do you think he was able to, if you look at the past, I won't go through his past, but overcome all the failures in his life, and he just continued to get better and better and better because he realized that's how it works. Oh, this showed up. There must be a cause. Here's the cause that ended like this. I don't want this. Let me tweak this cause, my thought, and therefore I must experience a different outcome. Oh, I lost again. Here we go. Let's continue. And he never quit. And let us all be thankful because his tenacity is one of the reasons why we are experiencing the freedom that we experience. This is how law operates. And we are consciously directing our thoughts either towards positivity and growth or stagnation and, in essence, death. And there is no death, but death of an idea. Okay. So are you living your best life now? I have a story I want to share. I found it on YouTube by a gentleman named Derek Fay. And he says, a group of researchers in Africa tagged individuals zebras. That's what they went out and tagged them. And of course, it allowed them to track the herd, but it still made it different when they tagged them because they would tag one and it's still in this sea of black and white stripes. It was very hard to find. So they devised a plan to put a red dot on the zebra that they were tracking. This would make it easier for them to observe and track and even help if needed. So they did this, and after between 2 and 5 days of doing so, the zebra that had the red dot was tracked down and hunted and killed by lions, simply because it made it easier for the lions to find them too, or it too. Now he says, I believe that we are all born with a red dot. He says, however, sadly, most people hide it under the stripes of conformity due to individual and generational insecurities and the desire to fit in. It leaves most people feeling like they were meant for more and sadly unfulfilled throughout their life. He says, while standing out from the herd may leave you feeling hunted, he says, with endurance and unwillingness to stand down, that very same red dot that caused you to feel alone and hunted will be the very same red dot that you are celebrated for. Embracing what makes you feel different will make you both happy and successful. So I like that short story that reminds us like, oh, well, because what happens is we go, look it over there. Look at that one with the red dot. I'm not that good. I'm not that successful. I don't have what that person had to start out with. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm not educated. I don't have this degree or piece of paper. It's too far. It's too hard. And all of those are limitations that can be overcome with tweaking. There is no limitation in life, instead the one that we believe in. So this is where our faith comes in, and the flow is a big part of it. Do we trust or not? Anything can be changed. Life, we call one of the words that we use for spirit or God is intelligence. And it knows everything. It knows the highest and best way. If we have an idea, especially one that lights us up, that's you aligned perfectly with the divine and that idea. Now, if we held that, it would and must come true. The law isn't finicky. It doesn't say, oh, well, remember back when you did this, and now I'm going to say you really want this, but no. If that happens, it's our lack of belief. The law says, yes, going back to the analogy, we take the seed of thought, we put it in the soil, the law of growth takes over. It doesn't determine whether whatever we're growing is good or bad or whatever. If you put a tomato seed in, it grows. If you put in a pumpkin seed, it grows. If we put in a thought for abundance, it comes. But we must allow it to happen. I love the movie Happy Gilmore. I don't know if you know Adam Sandler movie. But basically, in short, he's this hockey player who's really bad, but in his mind, he's trying to become a professional hockey player, and it just wasn't good enough. And he kept going to tryout after tryout, and in the process of doing this, he finds out his grandma is going to lose her home due to not paying back taxes. And so this gives him this newfound of, oh, I need to make it happen. How am I going to do this? There's no way for me to do this. I'm not even making money at the thing I think I'm supposed to do. Then through the process, he finds out that he gets introduced to golf and that his hockey skills can be parlayed or transferred over to golf. And it's a comedy, but in essence, he's able to make enough money to save his grandma's house and create a new sense of living, of freedom, of joy in his life. Now, that wasn't what he started out doing. He kept forcing the idea that I'm going to be this, and I'm going to be this, and I'm going to be this, and this is my life. And while that's good to have drive, maybe intelligent spirit, all-knowing, all-powerful, has an even better idea. In other words, think about what you want and then think of the experience that you want to have because of that. Oh, I want more money. Well, what would you do with more money? Well, I would do X, I would buy this, I would do this. And how would you feel? Now, if you could go and get that feeling in a different way with more ease, more grace, more fun, more laughter, why would you say no? Spirit knows that path. That's where our faith comes in. Now, one of my favorite all-time books is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It was written way back in, I'm going to forget now, I think it's 1903. And I'm just going to give a little quote to you. Just again, way back then, they put it into perfect words. So he says, the book says, the aphorism, it's not a quote, Bill, I'm just going to read it. The aphorism, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, not only embraces the whole of man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstance of his life. A man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. As the plant springs from and could not be without the seed, thought, so every act of man springs forth from the hidden seeds of thought and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated, as to those which are deliberately executed. Finally, he says, action is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruits. Thus does a man garner in the sweet and bitter fruitage of his own husbandry. Now, that last part, what is he saying? In other words, as we take action, that's where we find out where our thought is really aligned with, our thought and our feelings. So remember, thoughts, feelings, choices, actions, behaviors, and then that leads to the experience. So if we're having trouble getting in the flow, co-creating what we really want, sometimes it's easier to stop trying to figure out all the little hows and just go back to the feeling. Maybe you want to co-create a new house. Sometimes, for me even, I'm like, okay, I'm going in and it's a red door, it's a blue door, I don't know, it's a door, and then I go in and there's a room over here, and I get bogged down. And I can feel when I'm doing that, the flow is stagnated, is resistant. But if I just go back to, oh my gosh, I love my house. This new house is perfect. All the colors are perfect. And I wouldn't even expect it that I would like it, but it's perfect. And the rooms are in the right place. That means like I can just feel myself walking around with ease. And so it's almost like being more vague allows me to be more in the flow. And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes we don't know exactly what it is that we want, but we know the feeling. Then turn that over to spirit, to the flow, and trust. And here's the thing. It's not if, it will show up in the perfect and the best and the highest way. So once again, flow, we start with thought. Thought is first cause. It's all that is. It's the stream of consciousness. And then we add our individualized feelings. And then we make choices. We choose. And then we follow that up with action. So action is extremely important. Notice the flow. It's always moving. Our actions, we can't always just sit and think. There is some movement necessary, some action. If we're not sure, sit and think about it. Try something. If it doesn't work out, then that wasn't what was best. All right, so here's what I'm going to offer for life practice for this week. Last week, I asked you to create an alarm and awareness and think about how God is showing up in your lives and are you aligned with law? Similarly, create an alarm and check in with yourself this week and notice whether you feel simply like you're in the flow, right? Are you allowing spirit, the allness of life and God, to freely flow through you, naturally flow through you? Are you feeling like what you're doing is of increase to yourself and or others? Check in with that. And if not, first of all, if you're like, oh, I am nowhere near that, that's great. That's information. Now stop, pause. What would you rather feel? Just don't get caught up in the why, who, it's their fault, whatever. How do you want to feel? Get back in the flow. Think of your happy place. Now in Happy Gilmore, going back to that, that's one of the things that he was taught because he would get frustrated with what's going on. And so he would go to his happy place. Go to your happy place. Mine is Jamaica because that's where I went on my honeymoon. It was just an amazing, beautiful, relaxing time with my wife. And that's one of them. I have many, but that's the main one I go back to. I just hear the oceans, feel the breeze, feel the sun. Awesome. And now I'm in the flow. Now, when you're in that vibration, now think about again what you want. But now you're thinking about it from a positive flow, right? Not a dammed up stagnation. Okay. Apparently that's my favorite word today is stagnation. All right. So be in the flow this week. Check and make sure you are. If you're not in that flow, stop, shift how you're feeling. Go back to the thought, the main thought. I want to feel happy or feel fulfillment. Okay. Now add fulfillment or add some positive feelings to that and go with that flow. All right. So we have our weekly affirmation. The purpose of this, practice. Practice it until you can say it and you feel like you're in a flow, right? Because I go, divine nature flows as me, expressing as my highest good. No flow whatsoever there. Okay. Now if I pause, I breathe. I feel better. And I say, divine nature flows as me, expressing as my highest good. that feels like flow to me. So practice it for you. Now, the last thing I want to share is Ernest Holmes' birthday is coming up. That's on the 21st. So 1887, way back then. We are grateful for him showing up in our experience and sharing, doing the work, taking the actions to study, go abroad, listen, and write down all that he did, and in order to share it. Now, I did skip over tomorrow, which is when we celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr. And again, we are grateful for his presence in our more modern world, and definitely helped to shift the stream of consciousness and reality that we live in, and people like him. Obviously, he's not the only one, but he's one that gets a lot of publicity, and good for him. And let us also, though, remember all of those people that have helped to shift us to a greater sense of the feeling of flow in our lives, not just individually, but globally. And let us be open to knowing that it's here for everybody, so that we don't have to rely on other people, that we know how to create this flow for ourselves. And remember, the more people in flow, the more, that's like the ripples that go out in the pond. It affects everybody. So let us end this and affirm it in prayer, and just knowing that I am the allness of God itself, source, the universe, life. I feel it flowing in and through and as my life, and I declare and affirm, so does everyone else. For we are all of the same flow. Maybe different waves, different heights of waves, different kinds, but we are all of essence. There is nothing outside of spirit. And so I take this information with absolute joy, and I start co-creating a life that I want to live. There is no more fear. I release that. If it shows up as a mistake, great. That's amazing information. And what I know to be true is then I can now tweak how I think and feel, and something new must come up. I know that life supports me. I trust it because it's intelligent. It is all-knowing, all-powerful. It would never do anything to harm me. And if something's coming up that is not feeling good, then I trust that I know how to do it, or it will be brought to me in the perfect way, time, and means to change the life that I am living, to feel more of increase within my own beingness and for others. I am grateful for the Centers of Spiritual Living St. George, for home office, knowing that it just continues to plant seeds of unconditional love throughout this globe that transforms our very life in this very time. There's no need to wait anymore. As the Bible says, the kingdom of God, which is the awareness of Christ consciousness, the awareness that we are the allness of God, is at hand right now. So I no longer wait. I accept this for myself, and I see it everywhere I go. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Shalom. Namaste.
Wow. I sure needed that today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It felt good. Felt like flow.
Oh. All right. And you're going to be on Zoom
Absolutely.
afterwards?
I want to hear
Okay.
about everybody's sense of flow.
Okay. All right. Okay, here we go, gang. We have a few announcements to make. Thank you so much again, Reverend Joe. Okay, abundant prosperity. We can give with Zelle. See our newsletter for instructions. And we can give online, PayPal at CSLSGeorge.org, or use the QR code right there. Or you can give by mail, and our address is right here. So, you know, I love what Bill said about the law of circulation, and I think it's real. So I know it's real. So anyway, we appreciate you. Our offering affirmation: I am overflowing with love and abundance. I give from the source of my being, which is rich and unlimited, with joy and excitement I share this overflow. In return, the universe gives back to me in infinite ways, channels, and means. And so it is. Our next in-person service is January 26th, Choosing Possibility. And the details are in the newsletter or on our website. Announcements. Let's see, prayer requests. Our practitioners are available for prayer today and during the week online. Email practitioners for prayer at cslstgeorge.org/about. And the details are also in our newsletter and on our website. We are offering to open up a core council, and we're accepting applications right now. Speak to any council member for more information. We honor all that can be of service for us and with us. Okay, our Zoom conversation is at noon today, and email your questions to Reverend Joe at cslstgeorge.org. And yeah, then he'll have an opportunity to really delve into your question. Okay, upcoming Sundays. Our in-person is with Reverend Rachel Dilling, Choosing Possibilities. And on February 2nd, online, it's about emptiness, the wonder of interbeing. That sounds celestial, like celestial traveling. Thank you. That will be with Reverend Joe Kovach. Okay, coming up online, everybody. Here we go.
There I am. I couldn't find myself.
Okay, something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it. Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming. Thank
you.
Thank you, life.
Mwah.
Thank you, life.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Have a blessed week. Go Bills.
See you. See you on Zoom.